Today I'm sharing 10 items you should never declutter. Don't make these mistakes. Don't do what I did. Have you ever decluttered something and then later that day or even months later down the road, you've regretted it and you wish you didn't declutter it? Or maybe you've just started out in your decluttering journey and you're trying to figure out what to declutter and what to give away. Well, maybe start with this list and start with what to keep. I love having a clean and tidy home, and I have been decluttering my own home, trying to make it more functional. And along the way, I have learned that there are some things that you should just never donate. You should not declutter them. I'm going to start with some of the smaller things, and then I'm going to work my way up to the bigger things and the things that you really never want to get rid of. And I'm going to start with a more recent one that happened to me. I recently did a video where I went through the KonMari method and I decluttered my beauty products, I decluttered my skincare and my hair care. And one of the things I'm kicking myself over, and I just never should have decluttered it, is I shouldn't have gotten rid of skincare that didn't work for me. I don't know what I was thinking. I have sensitive skin lately, so a lot of things are irritating my skin. So I just wholesale said, these are making me break out, these are irritating me, I'm just gonna toss them. It didn't occur to me until after I had tossed everything that I actually could have used this on other parts of my body. I could have used this on my neck, my hands, my arms, my legs, you get the idea. Those areas need skincare as well, and it's not a place where I'm willing to spend the money to buy a special cream for my neck or a special cream for my hands. Fortunately, I did keep one resurfacing serum that wasn't working on my face, and I've been using it on the backs of my hands. I actually have been having pretty good results. I've been putting it on every day for the last couple of weeks. I feel like it's fading a little of the spots that I have on here. If you have skincare that doesn't work for you, don't toss it, hang on to it and figure out, maybe you can use it on your chest, your neck, all of the places, everywhere except for your face, and see how you like it. So a little over a year ago, I did a huge declutter of my master closet. I got rid of decades of clothing that I had been hanging on to. And in that process, I ended up getting rid of some belts and some purses, different accessories. So I don't really wear belts as much anymore, but recently I decided to try out a belt with my jeans, and I went through my belt drawer and I fortunately kept 2 belts, and I was very happy that I had kept those 2 particular belts because they are both leather. Leather belts are pretty pricey these days, and I actually find that they're hard to find, and even at the thrift store, it's very hard to find a leather belt. The funny thing is, one of the belts that I did keep was one that I had found at a thrift store in college, so that gives you an idea of how old it is, but I'm so happy I had the foresight to keep it. So this tip here, and something to never get rid of, is to keep your well-made classic clothing and accessories. So that could be leather belts, it could also be leather purses, leather shoes, trench coats, loafers, anything that kind of comes back around in style, or maybe it never goes out of style. If you have these items, hang on to them, because if you're not wearing them now, you may wear them again in the future. And listen, I don't want anyone coming for me in the comments and telling me that I'm promoting hoarding. This is not what this is. I am not suggesting that you hang on to everything. I am simply giving you some ideas of things that you may want to keep, that you may want to think twice about before decluttering, rather than just going into it and getting rid of everything. So speaking of classic items and classic coats, one of my decluttering regrets that I have, a couple of years ago in the summer, it was July, and I ended up deciding that I was going to declutter my coat closet. I have one downstairs, and I got rid of a number of coats that I just really wasn't wearing as often. It was a pretty hot day, so it was really easy for me to say, I'm just going to donate these coats, and it was really easy for me to make a decision on them. Well, guess what happened? Winter rolled around and I was kicking myself for donating my red coat. I really wanted that coat back. So my tip here is never donate out of season items. So if it is summer, don't go donating your winter items. Vice versa, if it is winter time, don't go donating your summer items. You just want to be careful. You want to be in the season so that you can look at the item and really make the correct decision on if you want to keep it or not. By the way, if you are not subscribed to my channel, and so many of you who watch my videos are not, click that subscribe button down below. It's free. So for this next one, I am not going to tell you to keep every specialized tool and every specialized repair item that you may have. But I do think that there are certain items that you should think twice and possibly be keeping. Especially if it's a specific part that you may need, if it's for something that you currently own, or maybe it's a specific tool for a repair that you have, something that you know you'll need it to repair. One thing I recently decluttered, I was in the basement doing some decluttering and we had a bunch of flappers for toilets. And I got rid of half of them because I decided, why do we have these? These are just clutter. After I donated them, I found out that my husband likes to change our flappers every few years on all of our toilets. I did not know this. Sometimes we live and learn, but my tip here is if you've got things for repairs or fixes, think twice before donating them and just truly decide if you're never going to use them again. I find so much original artwork at garage sales and thrift stores. I am in heaven when this happens. My tip here is if you've got original artwork, do not part with it. There are 2 reasons for this. One, I think that original artwork is rare to find. It's hard to find. And unless you want to shell out a ton of money, it's also very expensive. It's understandable. Artists need to be compensated for their work, and it's only fair. But we don't often have a lot of extra disposable income to be decorating all of the walls in our home and paying all of this money for art pieces. There's just something amazing about having an original piece of art that you're not going to see in everyone's home. You're not going to find it in the TJ Maxx home store or anything like that. It's just this really pretty piece of art that's all yours. So again, a couple of years ago, this happened to me. I was cleaning out my closet and I was getting rid of a bunch of my heels. This was around the time of COVID and I had really been working from home a lot. And with COVID, I was fully working from home and I just decided I didn't need as many pairs of heels. Well, I had this really nice leather designer pair of heels. They did hurt my feet though, and I really didn't wear them as much as I thought I would, so I ended up donating them. Don't donate designer items. This is my tip here. I should have held on to them and I should have researched them to see how much maybe I could have sold them. I do have a rule. I don't like to sell anything unless I can get at least $50 for it. I just don't find it worth it to go back and forth with people online. But designer items, they always hold their value pretty well and you can get more money than you expect. This one is a big umbrella term here, but it is difficult to replace or hard to find items. These could be certain personalized items, maybe things that are no longer in production. This could potentially be antiques or collectibles that are no longer around. And again, I'm not saying to hang on to everything. If you're not using them, if you don't love them and use them, then maybe consider giving them to family. Sentimental clutter is by far the hardest clutter to get rid of. When you're decluttering, I personally do not think that you need to be extreme with sentimental items. I have seen other people talking about sentimental items and saying you need to only keep one box or one thing, and that's fine. You could do that if you want to, but if you have items that are truly sentimental to you, I like to think about it in terms of, okay, maybe I'm not using it, but you know what? When I look at it, does it make me smile? Does it give me comfort? Items that have been passed down to me from people, maybe blankets that have been made for me, gifts from loved ones, vacation memorabilia. Sentimental items are a bit different, and that's why I'm calling them out as a particular category because you know what? Once you toss them, that's it. They are gone. You cannot get them back. It's not like if you accidentally decluttered an extra wooden spoon you had. You can always replace that. What I did though, I did create a box for some of my sentimental items and then I just packed all of the things in there that I did want to hang on to. These are things that are sentimental for me. They probably wouldn't be sentimental for my kids or anyone else. So once I'm gone, that entire box can be tossed potentially, but I put things in there that I just find that I want to keep for myself. But even better, if you don't want to put them in a box, see if there's a way you can display them around your home. I love going to people's houses and seeing their sentimental items on display. I think it's great to look at something you love like that every day. Another item to never declutter, and it kind of goes along with the idea of sentimental items, but it is heartfelt notes or even diaries that you had as a kid. I fully believe that you should hang on to these. I mean, unless there's something embarrassing in them and you want to get rid of them, then go ahead and do that. But if you've got letters from loved ones and you want to read them one day, you like to go through them. I actually love looking at old greeting cards that I have, and it just always puts a smile on my face. I love reading my old diary. I will do it over and over. It will put a smile on my face. So think twice again about these types of things that you can just go back to and read, and you just feel happy when you see them. Okay, for this last one, I have a bit of a story for you, but the tip here is a lot of times we will have entire boxes to go through. Does that sound familiar? Think about areas in your home that you need to declutter, and it's just boxes you need to go through. My tip here is Never declutter an entire box if you have not gone through it. You may think you know what's in that box, but until you go through it, you don't actually know. My husband told me this story. So he had a friend, and that friend said, hey, do you have an old tent that I can use and that I can have because we're going to be going camping a lot? And the friend said, I have a storage closet with a bunch of junk in it. Let me give you this tent. He just grabbed the tent, gave it to his friend. His friend took it, went camping. Well, imagine the surprise when the guy who took the tent called my husband's friend and said, did you know that there's an envelope in your tent with tons and tons of cash? Apparently, someone had hidden a large sum of money in that tent and then put it away in the closet. Well, my husband's friend figured out that it was his dad who did that. But I mean, thankfully, the guy had an honest friend who told him about the money, but just as easily that tent could have been donated to Goodwill. It could have been tossed in the garbage. So always go through the things that you're donating. And I have had some comments on my videos of people who work in donation centers, and they'll say that they will get entire boxes from estates and things like that, and hidden inside what maybe looked like a bunch of junk, maybe like some sheets or something like that. They'll find jewelry and they can't get it back to the owner. So just go through these things. Okay, guys, those are my 10 items to never declutter. Just never get rid of them and think twice before you donate them. This is a part 2. If you haven't seen my first video on this subject, I'm going to link it right here. Go ahead and click on it and I will see you over there. Bye-bye.